Where breaking news am dey bro me so sam radio NPP party no omo be lower omo flags because Bernard Enchibu Osiakon chairman Wontumi NPP Ashanti regional chairman for the party has been sentenced to 20 years in prison with hard labor. Ninyina Samra boy case any a contamine honsensem chairman Wontumi galam say honsensem aja say and then copy mu court and net 20th July 2026 and Accra High Court say Obama final judgment a chairman Wontumi case and na samre lawyers edim komo case in the details of it there may and a buyer the chairman Wontumi kwakotumu 20 years with hard labor.
Started back in October 2025 and subsequently has traveled over the period, and so far we're bringing to you the latest. And
we have an update. We have an update to give you. So count one, Chairman Wontumi has been slapped with a sentence of 20 years with a fine of 10,000 penalty units. So 10,000 penalty units will be 120,000 cedis, and count one, 20 years in prison. So that is it in respect of count one. For count six, he's been asked to pay a fine of 15,000 penalty units. So 15,000 penalty units will be 180,000 cedis. 180,000 cedis. Yes, that's the amount. 180,000 cedis is the amount that he's been slapped with in respect of that particular one. So that is the update that we have for you. Chairman Wontumi sentenced to 20 years in prison, and so that is what we can update us on in respect of that particular one. So the breaking news this hour is that the NPP's Chairman Wontumi, Ashanti Regional Chairman of the New Patriotic Party and the founder and CEO of Akonta Mining, has been found guilty for various mining offense. He's been slapped with a jail time of 20 years in prison with a fine that, if you do the computation, you are looking at somewhere in the region of almost 300,000 cedis, basically. 300,000 cedis, basically. We'll be providing a bit more updates and crossover to the court and give you the very latest. With that, Roland will cross over very shortly to give you a sense of what is playing out outside the courtroom. But this is the latest that is coming from inside the courtroom at this point in time. And then within context, we had said that the range that the judge was working with was 15 to 25 years. And so the judge settled on 20 in that particular instance. Okay. And the amount, the judge had a range of 120,000 cedis to 180,000 cedis. And because there are different offenses, for one, she opted for 120,000 cedis. Again, in between, then 180,000 also for another as well. And so very shortly, we'll cross over to the court and give you the very latest. But if you're just joining us, we know that at least Chairman Wontumi, as things stands now, has a jail term hanging around his neck of at least 20 years. We'll get a bit more clarification when Lord Edwasari joins us from the court premises as well, Roland.
All right. So we're having extensive coverage. Lord Edwasari is the one giving us the bid part, but more importantly, the information from the courtroom outside the courthouse itself at the precinct is our own person, Sixtus Don Ulo, also broadcaster, legal practitioner as well. We've stationed all our men to make sure that we bring you an extensive coverage just beginning after the hour of 10 up till now. We have our man in the Ashanti region monitoring, because Ashanti region is the hub of the NPP, for which we have Chairman Wontumi, Bernard Enchibu as the chair for the opposition NPP, for which there are many interested stakeholders from his party as well as the other political parties, and then the generality of the society there. But more importantly, we also here in Accra bringing you the extensive, what the various sentencing regime is, as we have in Section 99(2) as amended for the Minerals and Minings Act, and then bringing to you what the upper limit and then the minimum of the sentence as well as the fine will be. And Joseph has brought to you what the decision of the court is. But either Lord Edwasari will be bringing to us the latest, or Sixtus Don Ulo. And Sixtus, what can you tell us? Now we know that at least for 20 years, if the appeal per what is accruing to him as a convicted person will be, then it also means that will be a long way. What so far can you monitor outside the court premises?
Well, before we come to that, I would want to engage Lord Edu-Asare, my colleague who was seated right in the court, and then we can go through that again. But as you can see at the background, you see that there's a lot of movement, media persons here, everybody trying to get the first bite. We are waiting for who has a voice to speak to us to step out. Once they step out, you would hear from them firsthand some of the things that are happening. And even in terms of appeal, I don't think, speaking with a legal mind, I don't think this is a judgment and a sentence that would be taken lying down by lawyers of Chairman Wontumi. Indeed, we got that inkling when they started pleading for a reduction in the sentence. That is what the lawyers call mitigation. After the sentence has been pronounced, you would have some sort of attempt from the lawyers to try to reduce the sentence for the convicted person. They are not disputing the conviction at this moment. At this moment, they are saying that, look, you have convicted our client. We don't have a problem with it yet, but kindly see to a reduction in the sentence. That is the exercise that happened after the conviction. And whilst that was happening, in fact, the demeanor on the look of the lawyer Atachia was somewhat anger and curiosity, not so happy. Lord Edu-Asare, how exactly do you describe that?
So, Sixtus, let me just give a bit of a throwback. You recall that the lawyer Atachia, he filed some motion indicating that he was going to travel, and as a result, he wouldn't be present. And so he sent 3 or 4 junior lawyers to come and represent them, and they made a mitigating plea. They made a mitigating plea for the sentence to be reduced.
All right. Let me cut in that. We have a leading voice of the NPP, but I'm not sure that he wants to grant us any interviews. We have he's swamped, and he actually is not in the mood to grant us that interview. So we will get back to discussing, Lord Atachia, what happened in court.
Yes, so 4 junior lawyers were sent by lawyer Atachia because he had sent a letter Friday that he was pleading for a deferment of the judgment against Chairman Wontumi. So essentially, the lawyers who were present, they seemed very uncomfortable with what was going on when they attempted to use that motion for the case to be tried, essentially the Supreme Court.
What do we do going from here? Better rephrase. What does Chairman Wontumi do going from here? Counsel, do I have your permission to engage you? And you have been part of the process. Yes, you have followed the process from day one. You are in the thinking of the defense from day one. Is this what was expected?
Certainly not. We are extremely disappointed in the outcome. In as much as we respect the decision of the courts, we have our resentment to the outcome of the trial so far. And indeed, I must say that...
You said the outcome of?
The outcome of the trial.
Okay.
Having culminated into a conviction and sentencing. Because under normal circumstances, one would have thought that at least once a person is charged with assignment of mineral right without authorization, it was right that the Lands Act clearly defines what assignment is. And assignment is by way of a written instrument. And if there was none, then it's really a worrying trend. And what can we do except to consult our clients and fashion out the way forward and come out.
But the charges were brought under the Mining Act, right?
Yes, certainly it was brought under the Mining Act. But the Mining Act doesn't talk of assignment. It talks in terms of assignment. The specific legislation that regulates the conduct of land transactions is the Lands Act of 2020. Yes, Act 1036. It regulates the conduct of land transactions. So if you want to really understand what assignment means as far as land transactions are concerned, then you have to go to the Lands Act. And clearly the Lands Act talks of assignment to be a written instrument, but we did not see same. And instead, clearly, once he has been convicted on assignment without mineral rights authorization, it's clearly mind-boggling, and I am not comfortable with this.
You describe this as mind-boggling.
Yes,
to you, it is unfair. But let's talk about the processes of the trial itself. Would you say due process was followed?
I will reserve some for.
Would you say the judge was fair throughout the proceeding?
I wouldn't want to, with the circumstance I find myself now, I don't want to comment on some of the matters, but I believe that as a legal team of Mr. Benedict Bosiako will come out with his tact endorsement to speak on some of the matters that has gone on throughout the trial.
And that response points directly of an appeal. Is that what I'm sensing?
Oh, certainly. Once you are aggrieved or dissatisfied by the outcome of the decision of the court, the onus lie on you to file an appeal at the appellate court. Now, from the High Court, you can only go to the Court of Appeal. Satisfied, the rules of courts and the laws of the Republic allows you to go.
Etiano NHS update a media bro update gusu ebe nyina no medini na ebe bro e wo Dowona TV so meso so be kira wadwen e comment section nim.